was never about fitness and I guess movement for me until probably quite late in my health journey. It was always like, I'm just surfing, and then everything to do with health and well-being has to do with food. I was like, if you eat enough vegetables, you can do anything. But I was probably quite wrong in that respect. And going down the functional movement path and doing the corrective holistic exercise kinesiology it was like having the blinders taken off. It was like having this whole other world of factors to consider when it came to people's health and well-being. It was how much salad they were eating. It was like how much are they spending how much time are they spending sitting throughout the day? How many physiological imbalances have they left unaddressed for the last 30 years? And how much have they driven those in with certain movement patterns? You know, it was thinking about all that sort of stuff too. And then dealing with my own physiological imbalances was a big part of the journey. I think is a big part of everyone's CHEK experience. It's like, okay, first start with yourself, you know, because the best way to teach this stuff is to go through it yourself and to learn it yourself and apply it in your own situation, because you'd realize that it's not that easy. It's not that exciting to sit down and watch Netflix and go, hey, I'm going to stretch for 45 minutes because I just spent 4 hours surfing today and I need to undo some of the tightness that I've created. You know, it's not sexy to say that. It's not cool or fun to say that, you know, but it just comes back to, hey, you've got to put in the work. So, you know, realizing that there was this other element, and I probably learned a lot of this in the longevity film, like how important movement is. And in those longevity cultures that I visited, it wasn't so much, hey, we're going to go to the gym and we're going to stretch and we're going to do our deadlifts and functional movement patterns. It was like they just move all day. You know, they're walking in the garden all day. They're active. They walk up dozens of stairs. They dance. And as a result, that they live a long time. It's one of the pillars anyway. So I think it was quite underappreciated in my own experience, but after going through it, it did open up a whole realm of consideration for me in terms of people's health and well-being. And again,
well, I mean, for any sport that is pattern of movement that is abused, right? If you want to say, for instance, for surfing is a lot of unilateral rotation, right? And so that those movement, like, obviously we love surfing and we want to surf as much as we can. But I remember myself when I lived on the Gold Coast, for instance, and I was a surfing snapper pretty much every day. And I'm a goofy footer. At one stage, I felt like my whole body was twisted to the right. Like
you're in half the Gold Coast population.
Yeah, I mean, me, but me and the half. Yeah, exactly. And at the time, I didn't realize, it was a long time ago. And I didn't realize about it, like how much it was actually affecting me outside of the surfing. And, you start to get some niggling pains here and there. And, and then when I started studying this stuff, then and open up more and more and how negatively affect your whole well-being. Did you find that studying the CHEK stuff that helped you to get inspired to really go deeper into the journey that you are? Because your journey is amazing. You're such a jolly of multi skills, right? Because you are a filmmaker, you writing book, you have courses, and you have a podcast, and you're teaching people how to surf, which is is great. All your passion are merging into that. I'm wondering if that teaching, that learning also inspire you and give you an extra push, or if there was anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it solidified what I had already been leaning towards. I remember reading. So when I finished school, I successfully got into journalism international studies. I did quite well in school, but I was like, hey, I'm going to take a year off and live in my van and go surfing around Australia. And then I ended up living in Byron for 4 or 5 months. So I had this awesome year. And then I was about to go back to university and complete that course when I got offered a job at Channel 10 and ended up training on the job as a journalist. And after 2 years, I knew that storytelling was a big passion of mine, but definitely not in a corporate setting like you would find at a network. It was quite frustrating and limiting. So I had felt a lot of frustration at that time. And when towards the end of that career, not that career, but that particular
Fine.
job. Yeah, but that particular time with Network 10, I had read The 4 Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss,
Oh, yeah.
which was this monumental awakening for me. It was like, oh, it's okay to feel like this. It's okay to feel incredibly frustrated with